first. Getting some info off the recon dart there. Crashy's trying to spam into it. He's getting some damage, but now the chaos going to begin. Crashy's dueling his way back into the site, and Victor having some great results as well, taking down both Estes and Penny. Crashy's in for the final.
I feel bad for Baby Vets, bro. I mean,
that is a smooth retake from Envy. Allowing V1 to get the control, but never
don't feel bad for me.
They are able to make their way back into B, get that defuse with no problem.
Gaming is the one thing that I think
I mean, the crunch
I had, you know.
Envy, you could see them as soon as they heard that spike.
That's why I'm always grateful for video games, dude.
A and C link, go for that perfect
specifically like
and finally getting
the FPS community was like a father to me growing up, bro. You guys don't even know. They're like second family.
Is very early with you.
That's low key like what I miss. Like being part of a clan and like that was your fucking crew. That shit was just so nice. I remember I used to play. Sorry if the stream is low and you guys want to hear it, but we're in storytelling mode now. But I remember I used to play with these when I was like 14 to 16, no, maybe like when I was like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I used to be part of this Call of Duty clan, and I swear to God, like those were like my fucking friends. And some of those motherfuckers were like 20, 30 years old, but they were always just so chill, and it all came down to just who was putting up points on the board, bro. Who was fragging out? That's what qualified you. It doesn't matter how old you were, gender, whatever. And that's something I remember. I literally wrote a essay in class about why. What was it about, bro? I think it was about gaming, because gaming was like a hot topic. And we were talking about like pros and cons, and I remember I went on about the pros, about like the sense of community and camaraderie when it came to gaming and shit, because that was something that meant a lot to me back then when I was growing up, and I hope that's something that a lot of you guys could experience now. I hope some of you guys have that same like that same experience.
An awkward buy that leads them to an even more awkward post round here. They now have all sheriffs and a Bucky. Penny already dead. Player 1 to follow as well, but they're going to get some frags of their own, harming that Envy economy.
The fucked up thing about it is I feel like
back on top of it, but he'll actually die inside of this haven.
I feel like nowadays
this 1 versus 2, and he's going to have quite the opportunity.
It's different.
Operator that you want to be. If there's
I feel like nowadays people are looking for those crews because they don't have a social life outside of gaming. Holy fuck, Crashies. You know, I feel like it's different now.
Who can't clutch it up with the Bucky Crashies?
Like I think it's really important to have a life outside of gaming and in gaming. Like if you are somebody that games, like, I think it's important to have both.
We see the clutch come out from Envy. They'll stay in control of things. A very unfortunate loss for V1. They've made great progress working their way onto the site, but we're no match for Crashies, taking up great positioning, able to isolate these last 2 players into separate 1v1s and contain the duels for a very nice flick onto the second there as well. Great stuff from him. Great stuff from Envy. They'll hold on to the lead, but at the same time, those were the scrap buys from V1. This is their first real purchase for the match. To get serious here now. Envy also bringing an op to the table too, so V1 are going to need to get serious about their own play here, as there's still a lot of threats working their way.
Now here's the problem.
I guess I don't want.
From that
earlier
on.
What I mean by life is like social life.
Instead of having that 3rd round where they're gonna have rifles, it'll now be on the 4th, and Envy obviously have full utility.
Even if it's just one friend,
so this round going to be more
that you fuck with, like
would have happened prior.
You guys, you know, you get dinner, you go outside, bike ride, skateboarding. It's good stuff, man.
Try and send it right in there like they have been doing with mid and B. Instead, they tend to swing things back now, going towards A with Spike and every single person they have.
Envy's up big.
A lot of crossfire set up here on the short entry point. Could do serious damage. Crash is going to get spotted out, though. Force the fire in. Still able to translate a 1-for-1 ultimately, though. So not too badly played at the end of the day here. Trades are going to continue to roll out, but ultimately into the favor of Envy. Oh, nearly seeing FBs complete the take on the A site, but shut down by the very final player in position there.
My family supportive of gaming? No.
For Envy. Solidifies a 4th as those teams trade back and forth, ultimately into Envy.
I mean, my family wasn't supportive, but they also weren't like
just so difficult
toxic about it.
One to try and get on a site right now.
My mom would always threaten to take away my shit, but
even starting off on C, trying to bait some utility.
Never really happened.
Some Envy members over towards that side of the map. They go for the rotation, they go for the swing, but it just doesn't happen.
Like I never got beat for playing video games, you know.
As you said, Envy.
I know some people that got beat for playing video games.
They're gonna have to try and be more forceful in certain areas.
Victor initially out into mid just to check, but he'll very quickly pull back from that position. We've got V1 with a very passive setup right now to try and vie for mid control. They have been able to
I was
move
threatened
up
to
into
get
garage
beat.
doors, but nothing really being postured for at the mid window, or at least nothing that they've been able to jump out for just as of yet. So gonna investigate towards the A site instead here. Player 1 leading the charge here. Obviously an eco for version 1, so don't expect anything crazy unless they're able to find themselves
My
an
mom
edge on
smashed my
entry,
Xbox
which, to be
360
fair,
rip.
they
That's
have done that
fucked.
once already with that long C take a couple rounds back.
Here's the thing though.
And V can be very much ready for that type of play here. They're also holding
I don't know
incredibly passive
a lot of you
hold on
guys,
their angles. We are going to see the from the shadows work
but
its
I
way
could
out
see
through
a lot of
V1
scenarios
in
where
the
motherfuckers
inside.
need the
Down
Xbox
to
smash.
actually getting canceled maybe at the last second there if I heard the sound correctly, but either way, FNS can't do a thing
Or
about
taken
it
away.
inside of heaven. Dark cover is going to obscure him. He'll be forced to
I could
rotate
see
back
it.
down into the tunnel here, and V1 will take very
I think a
solid
lot of the
control
times it's
site.
no.
We're going to see that lockdown,
But I
you
could
already
see
can
a
tell
scenario
FP's in position to immediately
where
counter
that
out. We've
may
seen that
be
used
what
a
needs
lot
to
last
happen.
week in the open qualifier as well. So great work from FP's to immediately take care of that, not causing any worries in the post play.
Like some of the kids that went to my high school,
with a miss here, but he
if
makes
I was
up
their
for it.
parent, I
He's
would
able to
smash
work
their
his way
fucking
forward with
Xbox.
Vanity as well. The Bucky's making some serious impact just when it seemed like Envy was going to be able to battle their way back out onto the site. Victor left alone now. A 1v3 set before him. Has the hot hands to cover the tunnel, working its way out from defender spawn here. He's going to get revealed. Has to swing, but he gets the kill anyway. Hot hands, or excuse me, we're going to
Oh, that would've been fucking sick.
No, FB's shuts it down instead. So close for Victor.
Actually, I don't think smashing is ever right. I don't think it's ever okay to like destroy something that costs money. I think taking away is a better solution that does the same thing. Just fucking hide that shit. What are you gonna break a $500 console for? That's like a 3-head move.
Fashion as well, although Victor with a hell of a chance there in the dying moments, almost had it on that last curveball, but the classic right click.
But there are some
did
kids
not save
that
the
would go to
day.
my
Version
school
1 finally finding their first round
straight D's and
economy.
E's,
And that means they're going to actually
still
have some pretty
talking
solid
about
economy rolling into
playing
this next
Xbox
round.
and shit. I'm like,
For
bro,
all
you
of
need to
them.
play your
For
life.
Envy, it's not looking too hot, and that's going to make it even worse as Vanity takes down Caboose.
Race car peak
Talking
from
about
V1.
smoking
Caboose is
weed in the
not
back
ready for it. He gets
alley,
himself run over,
talking
unfortunately, not
disrespectful
being
to their
able do much for the rest of
parents,
this round. FNS
bad
doing
grades.
work
I'm
right now,
like,
and a big one at that. Walks in.
you
That's a
still
great
get to
pick on
you still get to play
V1.
on the
Player one,
Xbox.
excuse me, from V1. Nothing he can do about that. Plant's gonna go down without much contention.
Ease?
Either due
Oh,
to
we had
increasing long
Ease.
control
E was
that
like
V1 is
your
able to
foul,
gather
your
for
F
themselves a couple seconds
in
ago.
Michigan.
Now Envy trying to garner for
Back
positions
where
to
I'm
retake
raised.
primarily from Garage, but you'll notice Zelsis, we've been following for some time
We
now.
didn't have Fs,
Walking
we
right
had
up behind
E's.
these players. Gonna be able to get another free pick, this time against FNS. Vanity presses into the Garage to confirm Victor as well. Only Crashies and Mame left alive here, and never mind, both of them go down to Vanity as well, who tears his way through Garage, picks up a 4K on the round, and a very much needed round overall for V1 will go up onto the scoreboard.
What does the E stand for?
So version
E is
1
you
now
scored
opting to
like
just bully
a
their way onto sites. Granted, that round
50%
obviously going to be a touch easier
less.
for them given Envy's situation, but still very well executed.
The E doesn't
when it
stand
came
for
down to
anything,
the
it's just a
CK,
E.
as well as dealing with Envy while they try to reclaim space inside of Garage as well as Grass. Working Zelsis back
What
down
does
there
A
to actually
stand
handle
for,
that
chat?
situation was just so smart when it comes down to it. They knew exactly what Envy wanted to do.
What does
and
B
ended up
stand
getting quite
for?
a few frags for it. So solid stuff. Now Envy, though, with rifles, they'll have an opportunity to try and fight back. And along for the ride as well is an operator. So now, actually into the round, lots of action already to behold. Mummy's gonna have a big miss. He can't get the kill.
C stand for?
Mummy, it's
I don't think
gone
any
so
of the-
wrong
I don't
for
think
him.
a lot of
And
the letters
version
have
one
any
now with
meaning to
control
them.
of A.
Version 1 once again able to bully their way out onto
Poor
the site,
Mame.
getting that control. Vanity ready to plant. Actually gets down onto the ground here in a
My
second.
man.
Player 1 in the meantime, FNS, you there? As he's just gonna walk right into him. FNS not paying attention there to the connector, is gonna get taken down. Crashies and Zelsis will trade blows among each other, but Zelsis comes out the winner. Only one player left alive for Envy. It's Caboose from Heaven. Penny makes quick work of it, and V1 secure their third.
I think V1 are finally starting to get comfortable. I mean, when you come into this matchup as a
You know what I think is gonna be cool, though? There's gonna be like an entire generation of parents that's gonna be able to like
that out of your psyche.
gauge. Is it gauge or
confidence, right? You see your name in the
fuck? I'm gonna stop trying to use words that I don't really know how to pronounce. Gauge, right? I know people say gauge in a different way than I do, and people think the way that I say it is weird.
And that's what it feels like version 1 are finally leaning into, is being able to play their style of Valorant. And
How do you guys
right now,
pronounce
it's
gauge, chat?
working so well for them. You can definitely see off these swings just how confident they are inside of these lineups. Granted, Envy on the eco as of right now.
Oh, I am saying it correctly.
Their
Okay,
way
cool.
up C long.
I think it's cool. There's gonna be like parents that could gauge how good their kids are at video games.
Before getting traded out by Effie's. Caboose trying to take a shot too, but he has to dodge back.
Like, I'm gonna know if my kid is trash.
Safety, relative safety.
You know what I mean?
Of the garage anyway here. Pulling back both of his stars.
It's like if my kid comes up to me and is like, I want to be a streamer.
That utility out later
I want to be a pro gamer. And he's like 16. He's man's got. A man shows no strategic excellence and no FPS prowess. I'll be like, son, it's not happening.
And with that, V1 have this locked into a 1v2.
You're trash.
Not a whole lot left that Crashies can do here, especially when he only has.
There are 16-year-olds that are immortal, my man, and you're silver 3.
Better suited for this long angle over here at C long itself. Gonna play into that. Good shock dart works its way out. Try to make impact, but again, not forcing anything from these players. There's the peak.
You're behind the curve.
Knows Vanity's on the right too, but just can't handle it. It's too much pressure against him. Player 1 takes him down, and version 1 gets themselves yet another round.
That one a little scarier than initially first thought, but
let him do what he wants.
Just Envy able to find some frags on the entry from version 1 there, and you know, it's just gonna amount to at least a decent amount of damage.
I wouldn't ever say that, obviously,
right now,
chat.
Blue. Like, how are you gonna try and fight through that? That's just another buy on top of everything.
I wouldn't ever say that.
Vanity. He literally just has to like breathe on somebody, and that guy's got enough money for.
But I do think I would find a way to realistically tell him that
now for Envy is their economy's
he's behind the curve.
Really need to start dealing some damage to version 1.
V1 on the prowl, specifically at mid, pretty much ready to take the
especially if he was serious about it, you know, if he was trying to talk back to me, letting me, you know, he tries to make me let up on his grades a little bit because he's trying to like do whatever.
He knows player 1 sitting in the corner. Oh, and it's an
just train him.
Execution, not just that short. Mame also
chat.
had great results from the back of the B site.
Dude,
as he gets a
think about football players, chat.
Boiling on the site. He's not out of the hot seat just yet.
Imagine your kid at the age of 16 is on the JV team. Is on JV football, talking about wanting to play on the NFL.
After it seemed like V1 were
the chances of that motherfucker actually going to the NFL, it's probably, you probably could play the lottery and win. This isn't about dreams or training. This is just about like realistic, dude.
The economical, well, not advantage, but just they have the economy to actually get what's needed to make this happen.
Kids that fucking end up in the NFL or the NBA have been playing since they've had since they've been able to like carry shit in their hands.
Initial exchanges weren't all for naught. They were still having some like decent intel when it came over towards like A-long and things like that. Granted, we did see somebody die, but you know, that all can be righted if you end up winning out in a 4 versus 5. Just not really winnable when it gets down to that 2v5 scenario. But as of right now, lots of abilities going down, lots of utility usage, ults flying through as well, but nobody really dying just yet. Finally, player 1 to fall. Envy in the driver's seat, but not fully. Version 1 with a lot of control on C, but they have a lot of people to worry about as well, and they'll clear out the entire shop. Benny takes down Mame, FNS falls as well.
Gravity well trying to be used there in the midst of that battle from Mame to try to control the situation, but it's a little too late. V1 push right past it, flood the site, get that full control, putting us into the 4v2. Crashies, along with Victor, going to try to play aggressively here. And to Crashies' credit, he makes it pretty far into the site before being spotted, but ultimately
Joel Embiid started playing when he was 16 and about to be MVP.
The immediate control they seem to have just lost. That's also going to put Envy in a bit of a peculiar spot now.
Damn.
Two, the money still not great here.
That motherfucker's goated if that's true.
So they can try to push for something here, and it looks like Crashies is going for it, but he's the only one so far. So we'll see if that remains the case or if there's going to be a lighter touch.
Is that facts about whatever his name?
Okay, well, we're gonna let him get this figured out. As for a second that we saw Vandal, now we see a Sheriff. I mean, Envy really thinking hard about this one and how it's going to affect their.
He's also 7 feet tall.
Vandal, they do opt for that Sheriff on Crashies instead, but FNS, excuse me, will still have the Spectre. So
yeah, I wonder why he was able to go pro.
That's his evil twin, yes, exactly.
FNF.
FNF, gotta watch out for that guy and the FNF fans.
The motherfucker does this to make a bucket.
Either way. we're going to see V1 play a much slower take this time, just trying to play for picks a little bit more here. Envy at the same time.
What a weird
Trying
coincidence.
to push too aggressively into the V1 side of the map here either. Just good amounts of respect being given out by both teams here, as we're going to have a very quiet first 30 seconds of this round. We'll change very quickly though. V1 going to come booming out into A long because they have not had an opportunity to previously clear it. They do have to be cautious of somebody from Envy potentially being aggressive here. In the meantime, Victor gonna have to take close contact. Remember, Envy are on the eco here, so needing to try and give themselves the greatest chance they can to win out these duels. And no one's gonna check the corner. It's a shutdown potentially.
Motherfucker's built for
Victor gets
basketball.
two. Crashy spends off the only player that made it past him. He's got the wall to heal himself. Vanity, of course,
That has
cuts
nothing
off
to
the
do with
flank,
skill.
but such a small consequence at this
Yeah,
point
but I
around.
think that there's
The
an.
spike
I
is
mean, you
already
guys could
down
correct me if
on
I'm
the A
wrong,
site.
because I
The
don't
two
know
remaining
much
players
about
of
basketball.
V1
I'm gonna keep it a
have to
buck.
play into this engagement, and even worse, Envy have
But I'm
upgraded
under the
their
assumption
firepower
that
here.
if you're
Victor getting a
tall,
Phantom, Caboose and Crashies both having Vandals off of the dead
you
bodies.
could
What
probably
exactly can
be,
you do here if you're FD's
you know, and if you obviously need skill as well, but height helps.
Shock darts to play around with, but with only 8
Is that wrong to
seconds,
say that
unless
height
he's
helps?
miraculously able to teleport
In
and
basketball?
kill all of these people, I don't see this happening. Instead, going to sit around on main, actually able to get 2 here, not able to get the 3rd, but really wouldn't have
Like,
mattered
if my
anyway.
child
Timer
was
finally got
born
to Effie's, and Victor
with, I don't know,
seals the deal
how
with
much
that
taller
quad.
is 7 feet?
Amazing,
Like, what's the average height of a
amazing stuff
basketball
there from
player?
Envy. Version 1, what is going on, guys? The utility just coming in, perfect example right here. The utility coming in not the proper order, and I really hate to say that. Obviously, I
6'7".
know I'm the new guy here, I get it, but
Supposedly.
it just came in the
This
wrong
was
way. They
in
didn't have the intel, nor did they
2007?
clear the area in which we see Envy actually playing, and that's exactly what Bites version
Probably a
1.
little
They
bit
think
shorter
that since
nowadays.
It's an eco round, it's going to be simply
NBA
put,
teams are
easy.
required to
They
provide
smoke off,
accurate
they
height
dash
measurements
in with
without
everybody,
shoes.
don't even really throw
Well, this
the
is
leer up,
this
right?
is
They
this
just
is
walk into
probably
sight.
an inch or
Victor
two
just
smaller on
kills
average
all of
now.
them. That's not how that's supposed to happen. You're
How
supposed to
tall is
have
that
an
one dude?
drone or a recon dot or some semblance of information to get that to go off the way that you want it.
The forward play, the unexpected
sorry.
play that always ends up getting the better of
7-2?
the unprepared opponent, as we just see there on the previous round from V1. So they'll head into the final round of the half. Those lost guns from Envy at the end of the 3v1, not even being a big deal because it is the last round. That finesse again, a corner that's not checked.
Can somebody do quick
unfortunately,
math?
because of the fact we have nano swarms.
Percentage-wise, how much is that at an
holding down the rest of the
advantage
execute. They can't check it here, but
over
still,
the
impact is
average
being made on the
NBA
trade.
player?
Zelsis with a very important pick against Mame. Zelsis, another one as well, battling his way through the garage window, all up onto B and getting control of the site for free here. Hasn't called his team into it just as of yet, but they're definitely going to be considering that option, especially after winning out that fight. A third 1v1 win for Zelsis, and we're going to start seeing the rotates work their way in. Crashies, the only one left who can stop this. The B site out of their control, but here's the thing, Crashies, they don't know where he is. He walks out. That's the spike down on the ground. Crashies
Do it yourself, I'm busy.
And only 30 seconds for V1 to make up the difference here now. Crashies is playing with fire as well, though. He's got to be cautious. Doesn't have great intel about the 2 remaining V1 players, and as a result of that is trying to follow one of them. Vanity going all the way out through mid, around through long again to re-entry into the site. Where exactly Zelsis sit as well. Remember,
This
he
dude
was
went
at
through
B.
long.
He's going to be holding the extremity at C long here. Crashies walks right up behind it, and it's another free opportunity for him. He shuts it all
He actually
down.
hit it.
A massive clutch.
That was a
from
huge
Crashies.
flank.
Mastery of the map control.
Well, let's say it's 12%. I think some people
They're
say
gonna
12, whatever.
take the lead
Give it a 10
7-5 at
time.
halftime.
Let's say 10%.
The brain.
If
on
I was
this
born
man,
with a child
folks, he knew exactly what version 1 we're doing inside of that
that
round,
had
right when he got that kill onto Sova. He
a
recon
higher
darts the
average
ground,
reaction
was aware of
speed
where Reyna's positioning was.
than
So what
professional
does he do?
gamers
Instead of playing the site, which
at
would
10%
ultimately
or
have gotten him killed. You saw how
7.2%,
prepared
Maniacs
version
is
1 were
saying.
for him peeking on that back end. They were so tunnel vision.
I mean, I
it's
don't care if the
insane.
motherfucker is
Crashies
15,
makes the
16.
early
I'm
move,
gonna
the
see if he can
early
play some fucking
investment,
video games,
knowing that
dude.
they're gonna try and plant for long here, and takes full advantage of the situation. What a read!
Not born
and
with a
what
child, but if I
play
was,
from
you know, if I
Crashies.
had a child that was
And
born
take an even larger
with
lead here now.
the
V1
per-
seem
you
to
know, the
have
percentage
the
increase of
situation
reaction
read
speed,
specifically on
like,
the
yeah.
site, and best of all, weren't overplaying their hand from what I can
I'm
tell
gonna see.
until that very final moment. There.
I'm gonna see if the
Crashies
dude can
reinserting
game.
himself into the engagement from Garage and playing it out from that point forward. Absolutely beautifully done in the 1v3 clutch from him, and a very well-deserved extra round going into Envy's bank as a result of that clutch. To see both of the info darts work their way out here, trying to info on both of the teams early on. Not going to be much gathered from that, though, except for V1, as we, yeah, we're going to have a little...
That was
just
a
ignore
sick
that.
drone.
We're going to send that to the Boom
It sounds
bot
like you're
repairs
using your kid as a
slow.
product.
Take a look at him later.
I was gonna say, I
No.
think we might need to send it to the vacuum repair shop down the road because
No,
that
no,
thing
no.
is not.
I think you guys are
operating,
taking my
up
words
to
a little
snuff.
too
It's
literal.
just not up to code at
I wouldn't
all.
ever
I also
force my
heard-
kid
did
to
you
do
know that
something they
vacuum
didn't want to
explodes?
do.
Kind of scary.
But I
you
think if
didn't
there
about
are,
it.
if my child is born
Really
with
untrustworthy
clear things, like
design,
clear
so
advantages
gotta be cautious of that. Moving
over
into the action
other
for this
people,
round here, we're going to
I'm
see
definitely
Envy
gonna
start to
see if
lurk
there are
up
like
on the A
things.
site relatively quickly.
I'm gonna like, you know,
Short contact's gonna be made first with the
let
long
him
play
do.
happening just a
I'm gonna
couple
like
seconds
present
behind
him
here.
with
Victor
things
goes in.
that
We've got
play
Nebulous
into
covering off both of the
into
primary
his
retake angles
advantages.
as
You know
well
what I'm
with
saying?
Heaven, as well as the tunnel leading out to defender spawn.
Just
So
to see if
FB's
they like it, and if
some
they don't
shot
like it, that's
clock,
fine. They can do
far to the
whatever.
Right, needs to angle it slightly differently in order to find the impact on FNS. Celsius already on a
I think
flight
that's just a
well
smart
here,
thing to do.
Immediately coming in to shut down Mame, but Caboose has the front line held, takes down one, gets a dink onto another. FNS inside of the big cubby trying to hold off, but it's a close battle coming down to Celsius ultimately for V1. He can't make it happen.
Like
No
if my
Crash
kid
gets
is let's say
solidifying
he's
kill, and
really into
Envy will
art
hold
at
on
the
to
age
their
of
lead
4, like
at
this
the beginning of the
motherfucker is
second
drawing
half.
a lot. Like, okay,
Fantastic rotations coming in
there
from
may be
Envy
something
there.
here.
That's exactly why
Let's
they
do
won
some
that
art
round.
classes. Let's
Able
see
to
if he
get
likes
in
it. Let's see if he's
behind
got it.
Celsius this time instead of him pulling off a fantastic flank. So solid stuff for them there on the pistol. That's going to translate well into this next round. Now, the previous half, Blue, we saw some really weird stuff happen with version 1 on this particular round.
Let's say he's at the age of 4 and he's playing. He likes playing catch a lot.
And it looks
Playing
like we're going
football a
full send
lot.
once
Well,
again.
let's see. Well, actually, I don't know. Football's weird, bro.
Might be the case for sure here as V1 do not
Maybe-
want to
maybe
take that
football in
loss
the
so lightly,
future would
especially
be
when they're
less
already
weird,
sitting
but
in a 3-round deficit here and nearly
football's
had
weird.
some decent results on their previous
That shit's
forms back
scary.
on the attacking side.
Football scares
here.
me. I'm gonna be
Ready to
honest.
see the recon dart go in, does find out the position of Vanity, forces
Football
him on
scares
the
me.
outside of the window too. Won't really be able to play to the inside of
American
that position
football.
anymore. That means garage control ceded to Envy, but they're not going to do anything with it. They are actually going to end up backing out, playing in towards mid once again here, trying to get a better grasp on the situation before they fully commit themselves, especially now that they've more than likely at least have an inkling to the fact that V1 have invested
what
in this
Praise
threat.
just said in
Even they
chat
got
basically
inspired back
TLDRs
from
it in
Vanity
perfect
as-
wording.
Oh, this could be problematic. Hopefully the Owl drone checks the corner.
Damn.
It will, and the Bucky won't find a head today. Great stuff there by Envy. Scary moments there for a split second as version 1 had already engrossed around C and B, prepared for what was about to happen from Envy. But it's the fake anyways. They take down Reyna inside of C long and immediately hightail it to B, finding frags along the way inside of grass.
FNS on the lurk here, nearly finding out 2 members of V1 just a second ago. The timing not panning out for him, and it gets even worse on that reswing too. Alarmbot going to immediately get eaten up by the Cypher on the other side of the play there. Player 1
Damn, I'm
taking
hungry.
care of
Did I
that.
order food?
It's a very, very cautious post plan here for Envy. Penny finding the first response against them, but Victor and Mame seem to be handling the situation quite well. Effie's now the only one still left standing in the
Oh
1v4
fuck, I
here.
didn't.
He has himself the
I need
Bucky
to do
to
that.
play
I'm
off of too,
starving
and I
right
believe his
now.
position is already relatively well known by the Envy roster. So just waiting out his swing. He's obviously not going to commit to it here as he knows he's been found out. Trying his best to do damage to the economy at this point, but even that's going to be a tough ask. He'll be working his way into a very long angle here in a second. A blast pack blocking his way in fact. He even goes down to it as well. Kind of unfortunate timing as he just took a whole volley of bullets, but there you go. That last little tap knocks him out and secures the round for Envy.
That's the coolest thing about a lot of the utility in this game is just the different ways that it can be possibly used. Like right there, what you would normally see done with a C4 pack and what we're used to seeing with Raze is sort of flying around the map and doing all of these different things. But you can actually use them for controlling space like we saw right there. They don't do all of the
What if your
damage
kid
in
wanted
the
to
world,
take
but they
content
do
creation
enough
seriously, but not
where
really
it has
pro
to
play?
be respected, and that's the biggest deal.
I wanna
mean,
know
he got
why.
the kill right there, but even so, for all those Raze players at home,
I think there are a
think
lot
about
of
that when you have those
questions when it
C4
comes to
packs on.
my
You can always
kid
toss one of
wanting to
those
be a
out,
content
make your
creator.
enemy respect you just a little bit more.
I would
inside
just
of
be
those
really
engagements.
curious why.
Now, Envy, mainly focused on A.
I think
for
I
the
would
time
help
being.
them
Do have Killjoy out towards mid, so could
explore
always
it.
swing back at a moment's notice. But so far, so good. Good info when they're out onto site. Player 1, the only player that exists here, he's already taken down.
But
Nebulous
I
quickly
would,
covering
I don't know.
all
I feel
the
like a lot of
extremities here.
kids nowadays just want to be content creators so that they can be
Pull that
famous,
back really quickly, but either way,
and that really scares
has
me.
the plant down onto the ground. And for V1 here, a full investment for the most part from them. So they're going to have to make a attempt to retake into this site. Here's the problem though, man. Envy taking 3 steps ahead as always. FNS walking right into the B site.
FNS.
First one's for free. Second one's going to be a bit more difficult.
Come
though,
on.
Celsius leading the charge there. He gets the trade, keeps us even at a 3v3. But again, wastes time. Pulls a good 5 to 10 seconds away from the actual retake effort. It's going to start with a bang. No, Penny getting not 1 but 2 on the re-entry, and Celsius sealing the deal. V1 coming out of nowhere with that one. Envy don't even know what hit them. A very much needed win for V1. Will take control of that one and put themselves only 3 rounds away from their opponent.
That's a tough break there for FNS. Amazing.
How do you feel about
work,
streamers'
able to
kids
get in
potentially
behind
being
the entire
grandfathered
team
into
of
content
version 1
creation?
and A-Link.
I don't know.
And even consider the
Grandfathered.
trigger discipline there for just
Like, oh,
a
it runs in the
moment. You'll see
family,
the
fuck it.
hesitation, and then he finally kills home, and he's like, all right, cool, we're gonna go for this. But what's it do? It gives him away to the rest of the squad. They're attentive to the situation, and they immediately fry
I think if
him
that's what the
as
kid
he
wants to
walks
do,
around the corner.
that's what he
Just
really
tough
finds
break there
fun,
for
like,
Envy, as it seemed everything was going
I
their
mean, if
way,
he's
but
good at
version
it,
1
like,
just
fuck
better
it.
in that regard.
Sure.
Now, a bit of a bonus round there, to be fair, for Envy, at least for most players it was. FNS
That is gonna be interesting, though, dude.
I think he had himself
Imagine, like,
in the
Tim's
previous
son.
round. But either way, he's going to have to go down to a
You know?
frenzy, whereas the rest of the team will still be able to fully reinvest. A little bit of an awkward one, but hey, one player goes down.
Wonder
FNS
if he'll
back
pick it
It's
up.
not that big of a deal.
Pick
He's
up
got
the
his ult
old
as well.
man's
He'll make
work.
up more than make up. And he, taking an immediate contact here as well, and even using the entirety of the Blade Storm. Not finding much in terms of results from that, except for a little
Yeah,
bit of
or
damage on the
Lupo's son.
Caboose and Victor. But aside from that, he gets a lot of info, and more importantly, keeps himself alive, gets out of that situation without being traded at any point. So still going to be able to play out the 5v5. Here comes the lockdown, though. The execute more than likely just a couple seconds behind this. Celsius wants to try and control his own fate, but it won't happen. Victor knocks him out, and that lockdown wall is certainly going to go off now. No way to stop that here. Trying to get up close, but the timing, man, just not paying off for him. Caboose shutting down Penny just a millisecond before he would have been able to get that shot off. The lockdown hitting him.
How long do you see
Empty is
yourself
also
working in
affected
front
by
of the
this
camera?
Vanity would have had to have defended him there for
That's a
a
good
couple of
question.
seconds. But unfortunately,
I think
for version
I don't
1,
know.
even though they're here now, they're at the gates. They're
I think I
ready to
really
retake.
like
There's
entertainment.
no point anymore.
But even when
Envy
it's
have
like,
too much control over the situation.
even if
and
it's
version
not
1,
streaming,
they're
I think I
basically
really,
nothing
really.
about what the actual post plan
I don't know,
setup
dude. There's a
looks like.
rush
They're basically
when
gambling on a retake.
you are
there.
in
Best to
front
just
of
try
a
and save
live
their guns for
audience,
the next engagement here,
and
give
you
Envy
have
the lead
this
for now.
joke that you are saying or you're coming up with, or you're giving this concept to chat,
rifle, but problem
and
is
chat
now
is
it's
just,
outside a garage,
you know,
and he
they're
doesn't
just eating
necessarily
it
want
up,
to walk out and try
and they're
find
you guys are
that.
feeling it, and you
FNS
guys
now
are, you
waiting
know,
to
you
see
guys
if
find
he
it
will
funny
make
too.
the greedy play. And
There's
leave
there's
his
I don't know, there's like
cave.
this rush
Nothing's
about
gonna
it
happen,
that's
though. We
really
just have Sophie
fun
here
for
still
me.
holding the lineup as well, just waiting for the spike to go off in between these two. This round so far, pretty crazy.
Like when I was telling
no,
my story
FNS
about,
not like that. He's gonna shoot the body as well. Oh,
being,
the BM coming out
you know,
from Envy.
when we were
really
talking
taking
about
it to
money
version 1
changing me,
right
and I
now.
talked about
And taking
my
it through in
neighborhood.
that last round as well. I mean, we saw some aggressive stuff here from Penny, but just as we both thought,
I think I get a lot of enjoyment
ult,
sharing those moments
shuts
with
the
you
gun
guys,
off
and
right before
you
he's
guys
able to
finding
shoot,
them
and he's just a
fun
paperweight.
as
He's
well.
just simply floating there doing nothing, and
He's just a free kill for Envy at that point,
Yeah.
basically.
he's like
A little brutal, but
you guys know when you go to the the training range, he's one of those dummies that spawn. That's what he
Oh,
looks like right there. I mean, dude, you can't do anything if you're Penny right
There's
there.
a
It's
lot
just
of
hard.
moments
It's
like that,
really,
I think,
really
when you're a
difficult.
streamer where you
So
feel like
now, Vanity and V1,
like people are
ready for
fucking
this
with you
execute
and
from
what
Envy.
you
Very
are putting
harshly
out there.
on to see. It's the run it back off rip. Player 1 able to clean up Caboose, but Victor fires back.
Victor is going to take some heat from that.
Victor
No
out
hot
there.
hands available either, so he is going to have to use the wall to try to get himself back up to full HP, or at least as close to that as he can get. Shock Dart working its way in there for the post-plant hit, but it's going to come a little bit too late. I don't even think the position is correct for it. Cosmic
Not as
Divide coming out here as well now from Envy to try to work their way back in and reassert better control over the situation here. To really make this awkward for
Man,
V1
shoot
as they
the
have to go
wall.
past that wall with no sound intel to
Oh my
play off.
God.
Meanwhile, Mummy's getting all of it because he's on the other side of the wall here. Ultimately going to be left up to him though, as the retake from V1 still looking good. Mummy bring it down to a 1v1 though. Dark cover to play off of here too. He's going to try to push himself forward. Pops to the inside. Oh, and the flick from Mummy to shut it all
jumped
down.
on in.
Had the wrong position initially, but he corrects. He shuts it down and he secures the 11th for Envy.
Oh man, that right there shows you exactly why Mame was just so oppressive on the last Haven that we saw played from him with this exact character. Look at this wall, folks, and remember, this does not allow sound to pass through it. So that safe net in the back of the actual site for Mame is
Feeling when you know
exactly
you're
what
about to
wins
say
them
something that
that
makes
round.
everyone
They
gonna
can't hear
laugh.
him at all. He can do whatever he wants,
Best
and he
feeling.
simply waits out the timer, waits for that perfect moment. To
So, yeah, I
hop
don't
out
ever
from
know if
behind
anything that I'm
the
gonna say
curtain
is
and
going to for
surprise
sure
everybody
make
with a
anyone
huge
laugh.
moment for Envy.
That's really the craziest thing about it too, was he was on the other side of that wall when he tried to re-entry for the 1v2 because his teammates
I don't have
failed to
that
hold
much
the line.
confidence
V1
in
actually
my,
got past that wall, worked their way into the site. So he was
comedic
basically playing with no
ability.
sound intel himself. Upon
I
going
hope
through
that
wall,
it
the fact
will.
that he knew they both were on the other side. He was just blind past that point. So really impressive stuff from Mame to
That's
battle
some
back
big
the
cock
situation.
shit,
Almost
man.
got out of hand very quickly. Envy in the meanwhile gonna walk right onto the C site here in round 18. No challenge
Some-
at all from V1 as they're on a light buy here. They're going to have to try and play for retake, if anything at all.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's a really big issue, especially with a site like this when you're trying to contest long range up against rifles. This is not gonna work out in your favor. Definitely want to play those closer angles with weaponry they have available. But now it's gotten to be even more drastic. Recon bolt out for Crashies. Hunter's Fury for Effies is we could have a possibility.
Oh, he almost got
of a
two.
plant here, or at least a defuse. Excuse me. 2 big kills, but Crashies and Caboose get some of their own as well. All of a sudden down to the 2 versus 2 as Vanity
Oh
picks
my
up
God.
yet another. Caboose fires back. Vanity trying
This
to
is
hold
a
down the line.
disaster.
Caboose trying to escape. He's going to be able to do so. Vanity gets taken out by the spike explosive, and Envy find map point.
Envy actually very close to losing that one on the initial retake attempt from V1. Obviously, they were allowed to flood back into the site. Envy having so many ults to utilize there, most notably the Hunter's Fury to try and put a lot of pressure on that spike diffuser, and ultimately, I think,
Yeah, I was surprised they won that one too.
That attempted to do that, but they realized very quickly
That shit happened for so long. I was like, okay, come on.
Anymore, especially with smokes.
Any minute now, should get a
V1
defuse.
had to try and really awkwardly battle their way up through long to get back into that site, and thankfully, while they were never really able to fully retake it, they were able to waste enough time off of that default plant in order to waste out the rest of the explosion period. So good stuff from Envy, just a little scary there for a moment. More pressure coming out from them, and it's going to work too, but at the same time, Vanity able to make some impact here for V1 as they're pressing in hard on Envy's take, and it's worked. Shutting them down. Looked like Envy had control, especially at the long angle at first. But
Can I be
never
immortal?
mind. The short play from V1 is perfect and kills the entire back line of this setup, leaving only FNS
Nice.
alive in a 1v3.
They're just too strong when it comes down to these types of engagements. They're so good at being able to trade themselves out, and it seems like a flurry, but it's calculated by both sides. Version 1 just playing that a little bit better in the trade department, simply had more bodies when it came down to it. Now FNS inside of this 1 versus 3, he probably won't attempt to do too much, at least his economy right now, but could always try and do some harm towards version 1, since this is a very recent buy. Being able to force any of them to rebuy is going to be a really big deal.
And we'll go down. Turn FNS nearly loses himself in